Hidden problem with internet dog trainers. Huge problem. And it's obfuscating the truth from many people in the public.
I am the Ralph Nader in the dog realm and the Kevin Samuels in the dog realm. I don't care if you like what I say. What I say is the truth and hard, cold, empirical facts.
The thing about the internet, guys, and especially for you young kids out there, when you post something on the internet, it is there forever. Even if you think it got taken down, even if you think it moved into obscurity. See, there's people that are really good at web crawling and finding past things you've said in articles or in interviews or on your own website. And see, that's why we're here this morning, because this morning I got a massive compendium dump of all the times Tim Kennedy has lied about having a Bronze Star Medal with Valor. And actually, it is an insane amount of times and places.
So the other day I posted a video in response to Christophe Clugston. He made a claim about dogs and social hierarchies that was not correct. And so if you've seen that video, or if you haven't seen that video, I recommend you go watch that before diving into this one, because it spurred a discussion and led me to investigate Mr. Clugston a little bit deeper. And let's just say I found some interesting things about this man that prove that he is in fact a liar, a fake, and a fraud. Now, I normally conduct myself in a professional, kind, and respectful manner, although sometimes I get comments from people that insist I'm wrong, but they don't provide any evidence to back up their claims, and I'm not interested in getting into a back and forth with people over something that I know they're wrong about, unless they can provide some evidence to prove that I'm wrong. So sometimes I can be dismissive in the comments or combative. However, I don't call people names, and I don't believe in just being disrespectful for the sake of being disrespectful. But in this case, I don't think Chris Clugston is deserving of respect and the same professionalism that I would extend to anybody else. So with that said, let's get into the interaction that I had with him as a response to the video that I made. So the Jedi Dogmaster of Nothing responded to my video and said, "You misunderstood what I stated, and since I'm not getting paid to educate you, you might want to look up that I'm academically published, and beyond that I've been cited in other papers and books over 80 times, and you. Point is, I'm not adding engagement to your channel to cure ignorance at my expense. 2 other points, don't shorten my name, and point 2, unless you can pass the Jedi Dog Master Challenge," to which I respond, "I'll certainly be looking into your claims regarding your academic credibility, although I'm not sure why this matters considering you told me to watch what Coppinger had to say. You didn't say anything about papers you were cited in. How exactly did I misunderstand your statement? I even included it in the video, and I watched the lecture you referred me to, which had nothing to do with the disagreement over your statement on canine social hierarchies. How much of my video did you actually watch? I also included another of Coppinger's lectures." So I went above and beyond. He told me to watch What is a Wolf, Coppinger, and I did. And I even watched another one because the lecture he told me to go watch had nothing to do with his claim that I was wrong. So the evidence he gave was not relevant. So then I said, "You claim you are no stranger to confrontation and welcome it. So why are you so against engaging on this subject with me?" And I said, "There's only so many characters I can include in a title, and the name I included is the one that comes up when I Google you. Your quarter-mile challenge is meaningless to me. Explain exactly how that helps the average person who has issues with their dog. It doesn't." Now let's play some clips from Mr. Clugston himself talking about how he welcomes conflict and he wants this sort of thing, and yet he's so quick to run away when somebody actually steps up to him who can call out his bullshit.
I don't care, that he's saying these things. I'm not out there to censor the guy. I'm out there to slug it out. Because that's, once again, I'm a professional fighter, was a professional fighter, did it for a really long time. Kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai, shoot boxing, you name it, stick fighting. I've done it all around the world. So I don't run from conflict, and I don't pull any punches on my channel. And there's things I like about Robert Cabral, and there's things I don't like, and I mention them, and I'll say them. And if he doesn't have the, intestinal fortitude to want to answer them, because I have legitimate things, and I come from an academic background. I'm academically published, among other things. So, guys, you want to start comparing who's accomplished more in life? Me. then you guys, oh, I don't like it, he's bragging and everything. I guess you must not like Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard or Conor McGregor, right?
Now, Chris's first bullshit claim is that he's been published in academic papers and cited, and he's published his own work in the academic world, and he even whines about me not using his full name. And yet, when you go to his website, which, by the way, is one of several, I don't know why guys like him, because Matt Welch had multiple websites too. I don't know why these guys feel like they need to have multiple websites, but we'll get into that later. But on his website, he lists his name as Christophe Clugston, B.S. B.A.E.D. M.A. But if you look up what these things actually mean, the B.S. would be a bachelor's in science, and a B.A. would be a bachelor's in art, and the E.D. would be relative to education somehow. Now, the M.A. is a master of education. All this stuff applies to, say, science, math, and teaching. So let's say hypothetically he did graduate with these accreditations. These have absolutely nothing to do with fighting. They have nothing to do with dog training. They have nothing to do with linguistics, because he professes to be a master of linguistics. Now, of course, nobody who's actually gone to school and gotten a degree in something puts this much bullshit next to their name. And the fact that he's going to whine and say, use my full name, when even if you go to his other YouTube channel, which is just his name, he doesn't even have all this bullshit next to his name. So why should I? Second of all, he claims on his website that he trained his first competitive obedience dog in 1974. During his time, he was mentored by arguably the most influential and renowned dog trainer in the US. It just says WK, there's no name, and he just says it's the far right individual in this picture, but there's no name, and he gives no school for which he got these certificates, and I can't find any information anywhere on where he went to school, where he graduated, where he got this supposed education. And when you Google his name, nothing from the academic realm comes up as far as cited work or work that he's published. But where this gets really interesting is when I clicked on the images section, this little form pops up, and I click on the form, and it took me to this website, combatjudo.blogspot.com. Now, this website is, I guess, managed by an individual named Baron Shepard. Now, I had never heard of Baron Shepard, but I looked him up, and there's not a whole lot on him, but he is associated with the Gracie family, and I don't know if you know anything about martial arts or jiu-jitsu. The Gracie family is very, very famous in that world. So the fact that he's associated with them leads me to believe that he does have some credibility behind his name. And he did this post about Christophe Clugston, combat judo fake. And he says, Christophe Clugston paints himself as a military spec ops combatives instructor and subject matter expert. Clugston claims to teach the top secret military combative techniques of special operation forces through his combat judo and commando knife training programs. As you read through his site, Clugston makes a myriad of claims, from training the military to training military contractors. He even goes as far to say on his website that no one he has trained has ever been killed in hand-to-hand combat, regardless of fighting in jungles, urban, or the, quote, sandbox. Clugston has boasted to many of having very high clearances in the government and military. Clugston's site contains several different military insignias and references to military units from World War II, the Alamo Scouts, Marine Raiders, U.S. Army and U.S. Marines, as well as stock photos taken from various military sources and books to help give the impression that he is a subject matter expert who trains elite military units and contractors. When asked about his military background or what makes him a subject matter expert, Clugston implies that he has advanced training in the military, even top secret training. Clugston has even told folks that he has retired from the Army. However, Clugston's actual military record paints a totally different picture. Now, this gentleman, I don't know if he did it or somebody else, but somebody submitted a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request, and that's what this form is here. Now, this form, he says, it reveals that Clugston didn't make it through the training phase in the Army. Clugston had started basic training on October 20th of 1993. After the completion of basic training, Clugston went to DLI School for Linguistics training in January of 94. He flunked out of an Arabic language course, and he had to be restarted into another language course, a Thai language course. In the Thai course, he spent nearly 12 weeks into a 47-week course before failing again, and was subsequently discharged in July of 94 from the Army. He goes on to say that Christopher's actual military record does not reflect military combative supremacy, knowledge, or experience. He could not make it through his training phase in the Army and washed out only after 23 weeks into his AIT. Clugston couldn't even meet the minimum requirements needed to make it through training, nor did he receive any special or advanced training in combatives or anything military related beyond basic and AIT. Clugston's stay in the military was so brief that he isn't even considered a veteran in the eyes of the military. The fact that he boasts of a long military career at all is just an outright bold-faced lie. Generally, Clugston backs up his online schemes with his phony military claims. So under the Clugston's actual martial arts background section, he says, on his websites, Clugston boasts of having several black belts in several different martial arts before the age of 20 and lists several folks he supposedly, quote, quote, trained with to attempt to back up his claims. Out of the folks he claims he trained with, it was discovered that this was nothing more than him attending a one-time seminar here and there with the different individuals he lists on his website. Nothing remotely close to receiving a black belt in anything. And then he discusses his background training in knives, and Clugston claims to have trained the Philippine Marine Corps. So he mentions this, and this is one of his websites, is fluentfighting.com. And if you go there, there is a picture of him with the Philippine Marine Corps squadron or unit, and he says he does post a couple pictures on his site to attempt to back up his story midway down his page. Then he says, on the trainer's credential page of his site, combatjudo.com, Clugston claims to have taught Philippine Recon Marine Class 20 how to kill with bare hands. It appears Clugston exaggerated his teaching that Philippine Marine Corps unit greatly. According to the Filipino Marine Recon NCOs, Clugston did not train any class of the Recon Marines in anything. Clugston showed up for one seminar and was given a certificate like any other seminar attendee would get for attending. The NCO and staff also remember that Clugston was claiming to be retired from the Army at the time. But what's also on his website is he decides to list that he appeared in articles in Karate Illustrated International Magazine, and he also appeared in and wrote articles in Black Belt, the #1 martial arts magazine in the world. I wonder if this is what he means when he says he's been published and he's been cited in academic works. If this is what the fuck he's talking about, then he is so full of shit, because this is not academic at all, and it has nothing to do with dogs or dog training or dog behavior or anything like that. So even if this had any credibility, it has nothing to do with the assertions he makes about dogs, and it has nothing to do with his claim that I was wrong and that he's been cited in all these academic works and I've been cited in nothing, so therefore I have no credibility. Well, motherfucker, the only work that I can find that you've been in is in these martial arts magazines. And don't worry, in part 2, we're going to take a look at your fighting, and I think Baron Shepard's done a good enough job to prove that you're a fraud in the martial arts realm, but we'll take a look at your actual fighting, your fighting record, your claims that you were the #1 middleweight, where the fuck you say, and we're going to poke holes in all of that bullshit and show everybody how you're a fake and a fraud when it comes to martial arts, you're a fake and a fraud when it comes to fighting, and you're a fake and a fraud when it comes to dog training. Nobody should take you seriously. You have absolutely no fucking credibility, which makes sense because you have the biggest fucking ego and the biggest mouth, and usually the people that run their mouths the most are the most insecure and have the least to back up their bullshit.